The air in the chamber was thick with incense and static charge. Bright blue glyphs danced across the obsidian walls, lighting up in sequence as the ritual reached its climax. At the center stood Mistress Valera, High Matron of the Order of the Seven Veins, one of the galaxy's most feared psionic dominators. Bound before her, naked to the waist, was a human. "Your species was not invited," she hissed, every word curling like a blade through the air. Her forearms raised in a gesture that made the glyphs flare hotter. "You trespassed into the sacred tunnels of the vein. You entered the wrong orifice, one meant only for the chosen of the etheric brood." The human winced but didn't break eye contact. His name was Marcus Dryden, ex-miner, now scavenger on the edges of the galactic rim. He had stumbled into Valera's temple through what he thought was a derelict mining shaft on the moon of Selkath 9. Now, he was the Defiler. Valera's voice dropped an octave, dripping with venom and, strangely, curiosity. "Tell me, human, what drove you into our most sacred vein?" "Greed, arrogance, or perhaps ignorance, that ancient disease your species clings to like a shield." Marcus coughed, wiping a bit of blood from his mouth. "None of those," he said hoarsely. "I was just looking for oxygen lines. My ship crashed 3 clicks east. Didn't know this place even existed." She frowned. Her translucent eyelids fluttered once, an involuntary twitch, like disbelief trying to claw its way through millennia of pride. "You entered without intent?" "Impossible. The vein recognizes will. It only opens for those who desire something." Marcus shrugged weakly. "I desired air, water, and maybe not dying of dehydration." That made her pause. The glyphs dimmed slightly. For the first time since the ritual began, the chains holding him shimmered uncertainly. "Human simplicity," Valera murmured, stepping closer. "How grotesquely pure." Marcus studied her while trying not to pass out. She was taller than him by a head, her skin a deep violet laced with silver veins that glowed faintly in rhythm with her heartbeat. 4 arms adorned her lithe frame, each ending in slender clawed fingers. A head crest of pearlescent scales framed a face that might have been beautiful, if not for the cold fury burning behind her gaze. "You came through the wrong gate," she continued. "The orifice of communion was not meant for flesh-born wanderers. It was prepared for my chosen, those who transcend body and nerve." "Yeah," Marcus muttered. "Definitely didn't mean to stumble into anyone's orifice." Her eyes widened at the insolence. "Insolent human!" she snapped, her voice shaking the chamber. "Do you mock the sanctity of our rites?" "No, ma'am," Marcus said quickly. "Just your choice of words." Valera's upper pair of hands curled into fists while the lower pair hovered over his head, psionic energy crackling between her palms. Yet something about his tone, some defiant steadiness, stayed her hand. "Your kind should be groveling," she hissed. "And yet you meet my gaze." "Because if I look down," he said, forcing a grin, "you'll think I'm scared. And if I look away, I might miss the only pretty thing left on this moon." She blinked. Twice. The glyphs pulsed once in response, reacting to her momentary lapse of control. No one complimented a mistress, certainly not a condemned outsider. The silence that followed was thick. Finally, Valera moved around him, her many arms tracing the invisible aura that surrounded his body. "Strange," she muttered. "The vein accepted you for a moment when you entered. The wards should have consumed your nervous system immediately." Marcus half smiled. "Guess I'm tougher than your average tourist." Her claws grazed his shoulder, an accidental touch that made her breath hitch. The bond between psionic energy and organic matter flashed for a heartbeat. She felt something, raw, human, unfiltered emotion pulsing through him like magma. Fear, yes. Pain, certainly. But beneath it all was resilience, a power that was alien even to her. "You carry a spark," she whispered. "A mind that endures torment yet remains unbroken." He smirked faintly. "Call it human stubbornness." Hours passed. Valera's interrogation turned into observation, then conversation. She demanded to know of Earth, its people, its wars, its endless hunger for the stars. Marcus, in turn, learned that her orifice was not anatomical, but a dimensional nexus, a gateway between her order's psychic realm and physical reality. To enter it was to touch divinity. To do so uninvited was blasphemy of the highest degree. And yet, Marcus had survived. You could not have known. she said finally, sitting across from him as the restraints melted into vapor. But ignorance is no absolution. Then what happens now? He asked cautiously. She stood tall again, eyes half-lidded. Normally? You'd be unmade, your essence woven into the vein as atonement. But she trailed off, staring at him as though he were a particularly irritating puzzle. The vein whispered when you entered. It spoke your name, Marcus frowned. It what? It recognized you, she said softly. And I cannot ignore that. That night he was given a chamber, Spartan but tolerable. The walls hummed faintly, alive with psychic life. Violira visited once more, clad not in her ceremonial armor but in dark silk robes that clung like liquid shadow. You carry an energy that should not exist in one so unevolved, she murmured, tracing the air near his chest. When you stepped into the vein, you didn't die. You changed it. The flow bent around you. Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. Yeah, well, been told I have that effect on plumbing too. Her lips twitched, almost forming a smile. You just before death, she said. And yet, I sense you have faced worse. He nodded. Lost my whole crew on Orion Belt Station. Airlock failure. I only lived because I was the one outside repairing it. Guess luck's been following me around ever since. Valira's eyes softened, barely. Perhaps not luck, she murmured. Perhaps purpose. Over the next few days, the impossible happened. The mistress and the human began working together. She guided him through the vein's psychic corridors, showing him images of ancient wars and alien minds colliding in silent symphonies. In turn, Marcus taught her how to handle human tools, repair power conduits, and brew instant coffee from ration packs, an experience she described as vile yet invigorating. It was during one of these lessons that she said, almost idly, the Order would call this heresy. A mistress teaching a human, sharing communion? They would strip me of title and soul alike. Marcus handed her a cup. Guess we're both outlaws now. She sipped, winced. Your taste in beverages is an atrocity. Acquired taste, he said. Like me. That earned a small, genuine laugh, the first he'd heard from her. But the peace couldn't last. A fleet approached, the other matrons of the Seven Veins, answering Valira's distress signal from weeks earlier. They would find her sanctuary, discover the human, and destroy both. The Order is coming, she said grimly as sirens echoed through the temple. They will not understand what we have found. Marcus grabbed his toolkit, glancing toward the vein gate. Then we run. You can't escape them, she said. They bend space itself. Then we break space, he said. Your vein connects realities, right? We open it again, but my way. Her crest flared. You dare tamper with sacred geometry? He grinned. I already defiled your orifice once. Might as well make it count, she gasped, scandalized, and almost laughed again despite herself. You are insufferable. Yeah, he said, turning wrenches and rerouting conduits. But effective. The chamber shook as the Order's warships descended. Valira poured her psionic energy into the glyphs while Marcus forced power into the nexus with raw human ingenuity and a mining reactor meant for asteroids. The vein screamed open, unstable. Glowing white hot, now! He yelled. Valira hesitated, looking at him. If we enter, we may never return. He held out his hand. Guess that makes it fair. For the first time, she took it. They leapt. The Order's ships fired too late. The chamber imploded, leaving nothing but a collapsing hole of light. When Valira opened her eyes again, the air was crisp, breathable. A pale blue sky stretched overhead. A sun, a human sun, Earth. They stood in the middle of a grassy field surrounded by ruins of some forgotten satellite array. This world, she breathed. So alive, so raw, Marcus grinned. Welcome to the wrong orifice, mistress. She looked at him sharply, then smirked. Perhaps, she said softly, the right one all along. Days later, the Order would mark both Valira and Marcus as vanished, consumed by the vein. But out there, on a little blue planet, a violet-skinned woman learned to laugh at human clumsiness, and a scarred scavenger found that even gods could bleed, smile, and love. When Valira watched him repair a solar panel one evening, she whispered under her breath, "Insolent human." Marcus looked up. Yeah? Her eyes shimmered with faint amusement. You've entered every sacred thing I swore to protect, she said. Body, mind, and heart alike, he smiled. Guess I'm good at breaking rules. She leaned closer, her forehands tracing his jaw. "And I," she said, "am learning to love defilement." The stars flickered above them, silent witnesses to a forbidden alliance between will and curiosity, between human defiance and divine arrogance. And somewhere deep within the universe's oldest orifice, the vein pulsed once more, not in anger, but in approval.